Hi guys, this is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com and elearntarot.com, and today I have a very interesting video for you guys. I hope you like it. Um, as many of you know, I have been flirting with astrology for some time now, and well, off late, I sort of decided I'm gonna sort of learn it like properly. I'm starting. I'm not by no means am I like an expert, but the thing is, for me, everything I tend to see everything through the lens of the tarot because tarot is my first love. So there's a bunch of things that made sense to me, and I said, okay, let's do this. I am going to spend the entire year, more or less. Yeah, it is a year long thing, and I will be doing this whole exercise where I try to understand astrology through the lens of the tarot by doing this what is called a Decan Walk, starting from March 2025, and we'll go all the way to, I guess, March 2026. And so this is a year long thing, and the whole purpose will be to understand astrology, but through the lens of the tarot and other tarot like decks or some oracle decks. So, what is this journey going to be all about? Let me explain. There's a bit of some foundations that I would like to sort of share with you because I've recently learned a little bit more about this. So I would like to, I just said, let me just make a video, let me share this and see like what happens. Okay, so tarot and astrology. There have always been connections between tarot cards and astrology. And the point is that we are now going to explore this a little bit more, right? With a little origin story, if you will. So this is back in the day, we had secret societies. Say in the late 19th century, there was one that was called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And these, it was the founders of this society were part of, I think they were Freemasons, and then they were part of, I think, the Rosicrucian Society, I believe. And so they structured this whole society, their whole group, similar to the Masonic sort of lodges, the Freemasons, that how they had it, which is fine. But then the big interesting change was women were also a part, of this Hermetic order, which I think was amazing. And so they had this whole thing, and then they were studying all sorts of different occult topics like Kabbalah, astrology, tarot, geomancy, alchemy, scrying, astral travel, etc. So there's a whole bunch that they were like into. Now, why is this important? Why is this secret society so important to us? Well, because Arthur Edward Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith, who created your Rider-Waite tarot deck, which is like the gold standard in a way for tarot card decks. And so this was in 1910 that they published it. And of course, we have Aleister Crowley and Lady Frida Harris, who published their Thoth tarot deck in 1969. So both of these, card decks were essentially the result of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, because both of all of these people, I'm 100% not sure about Lady Harris, but Crowley, A.E. Waite, and Pamela Coleman Smith were part of the Golden Dawn. I know that for a fact. I don't know about Lady Frida Harris, but if any of you know if she was also part of it, just let me know in the comments. And all of them essentially, so they were highly influenced by all that they studied or learned or came out of their sort of occult studies as part of the Golden Dawn. So it matters, right? That's where this whole thing, this connection between tarot and astrology was sort of created, devised, and improved in a way. So when we learn our tarot, we do know that the major arcana cards are connected with either a zodiac sign or a planet, right? And so I made a nice chart, of course, and this is how it kind of sort of looks like. So we have, the bottom row of cards, if you see, we have the Emperor, Hierophant, Lovers, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Justice, Death, Temperance, Fool, Star, and Moon. They correspond, or they are linked with the different the 12 zodiac signs. So Emperor is Aries, Hierophant is Taurus, Lovers is connected with Gemini, Chariot with Cancer, and so on. And now the remaining cards, they are connected with the planetary bodies. And what we see is over here, like you have the tower, which is connected with Mars, and Aries is ruled by the planet Mars. And so we have the tower here on top. And then we have Taurus, which is the Hierophant card, which is ruled by Venus, which is your Empress card. So that's the card here. Similarly, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is your linked with your Magician card. Chariot is connected with Cancer, which is ruled by the Moon, which is your High Priestess card, and so on. Now, you'll notice that in, I guess, 3 of these signs, there are 2 cards in the, ruling planet column. And that is because initially we only had 7 planets. And then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were also added to the list. And I know there's a whole controversy whether Pluto is a planet or a dwarf planet, but for the purposes of our studies, it is a planet. Big or small, it's a planet. And so what happened was, Mars, which was the ruler of, Aries, was also the ruler of Scorpio in this case. Because I think if you notice, apart from the sun and moon, all planets sort of, have 2, 2 signs that they kind of rule, except for the sun and moon. But then, now we had Pluto, which became the ruler of Scorpio. Prior to this, Pluto was just linked with the element fire in our, major arcana thing. So, well, they put it here. Similarly, for your, Aquarius, which is the star card, it was initially, ruled by Saturn. Even traditional astrology still looks at it, from the Saturn rulership. But then you also have Uranus, which is the Fool card, sort of ruling Aquarius. Similarly, with Pisces, you have Jupiter and you have Neptune. And as I said, prior to these cards being assigned these planetary connotations, especially these 3, the Judgment, Fool, and Hangman, they were connected with elements. So Judgment was fire, Fool was air, and Hangman was water. And this world card sort of did double duty between Saturn and Earth. So now they got sort of clubbed together. So I look at both these planets as the core rulers, I would say, right? And that's how we've divided it up. Now this major arcana, here we go. I even made a similar chart for the thought cards, because why not? Now this is lovely. And this major arcana associations is something that we all learn when we study the tarot. So that's pretty straightforward as it goes. But there is also a connection between the astrology, planets and everything, with planets and signs, with the minor arcana. And that's where the story gets a little complicated. But bear with me. I plan to sort of introduce you to that step by step. And if you see here, this is how they draw the chart in Western astrology. It's in a circle. So there's 12 zodiac signs distributed along this circle. So circle is about 360, not about, it is 360 degrees. And there are 12 zodiac signs. So each sign occupies 30 degrees, 360 divided by 12, right? So 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, and so on. which is okay, great. And then each of those signs, they divide it into three parts to get like 10-10 degree sections. And they are called decans, right? So that's a very metric thing for many of my American friends might be like, what's that? It's the metric system. It's okay. So anyway, the point is, this is 10 degrees. So now what happens is all these signs are now divided into three parts, 10-10 degrees. And each 10-degree section is called a decan. Okay, remember this, and this will come in handy later. Okay, let's move to the next part where we learn how these connections are made. And the basic building blocks for this system of correspondences for the minor arcana in astrology, we have numbers, we have the signs and seasons, we have the planets, and we have the dates. So it kind of builds on top of each other. So let's start with the first block, which is numbers and the minor arcana cards. So we all know we have 10 cards in the minor arcana, starting from the ace to the 10, right? What they have done is the ace and the 10, technically from the numerology point of view, if we add 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1, and 1 is 1. But the meanings kind of differ, as you see. 1 is the beginnings, and with 10 it's associated, sort of the energy is transitions. So what they did though is they said, okay, 1 will be kind of the beginning and the root of the powers and whatever, and they assigned it to the whole entire season. Now we'll build this, don't worry. I'll be here with you as we work through this. Okay, and let's start from below though. Okay, so 1 is for the whole season, but then it starts with a season, right? And a season is roughly 3 months long, and each sign is about roughly 30 days or a month long. So in each season you get 3 signs, right? And those 3 signs then are sort of the beginning, the middle, and the end of that season. And the beginning signs are called cardinal signs, the middle signs are called fixed signs, and the end signs are called mutable signs. Okay, just right, makes sense, right? A season divide is contained of 3 signs, which are the beginning, middle, end, cardinal, fixed, mutable. And so what they did is, now that we have the ace that covers the whole season, they divided the remaining 9 numbers into 3, right? So 2, 3, and 4 become part of the cardinal or beginning season. 5, 6, and 7 become part of the fixed or the middle season. And 8, 9, and 10 become part of the end or the mutable season. And the sign that it is connected with. Okay, so this is the first building block. Then let's bring in the zodiac signs and connect those with those seasons, right? And so, of course, we have the northern and the southern hemisphere, right? So for example, in the northern hemisphere, when we have spring, southern hemisphere has autumn. When in the northern hemisphere we have summer, they have winter. Northern hemisphere has autumn, and southern hemisphere has spring. And when we have winter up in the northern hemisphere, they have summer in the southern hemisphere. So these are the seasons, right? So that block is there. So this is one season. Then the next layer we see, we have all our 12 signs: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, right? In that order. And so we now put that under there. So we have like, let's say this is the first season, spring or autumn. And we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Summer or winter, we have Cancer, Leo, Virgo. Autumn and spring, we get Libra, Scorpio, Sag. And winter and summer, we get Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, right? Now, we know that's divided into cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So let's put that in there. And then the associated numbers come right there below, right? It's all fantastic. Now we've connected those dots a little bit. And now we go a little bit to the next layer again. Let's add one more layer. Now, Aries we know is a fire sign which is connected with the, elementally it is connected to wands. Taurus is an earth sign, which is pentacles. Gemini is an air sign, so it's swords. Cancer is a water sign, so it's cups, and so on. So we get wands, pentacles, swords, cups, wands, pentacles, swords, cups. So it's all sort of divided. With me so far? So now we have connected these seasons with our signs, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, which then connects to those numbers, and those are then, of course, connected with our suits, minor arcana suits, right? So that was the second block. The third block is planets. And that's where we again go back to traditional astrology, 7 planets, because they did it back then and nobody wanted to revise it. So we don't have no more than that. That's what we have. So let's work with that, okay? There is a thing called the Chaldean order of planets, which essentially arranged the astral bodies from the moon to Saturn based on the speed of movement across the sky. So from the fastest to the slowest, we got Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, right? So the Moon moves the fastest, then the Mercury is the second fastest, and Venus is a little bit slower than that, Sun is a bit slower than that, Mars is a bit slower than that, and so on all the way to Saturn, right? This is the order: Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Now, in our sequence of zodiac signs, Aries is the first zodiac sign, which is ruled by Mars, right? So this is where we kind of say, okay, let's start from here. And then we go from there all the way, okay? So let me rearrange that, same in a different way. We rearrange this starting from Mars. We go Mars, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. And this is the order of the planets: Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. Okay? Now, that order, let's come back to our table. Right? This is the table we know, we have that. Now let's add a little more layers there. So we take these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these numbers that we know, we've attached those to the cardinal, fixed, mutable, and we put these numbers here, right? We know we have the minor arcana suit, so we put those down there. Then, let's put the signs as well again, Aries, Taurus, Gemini in sequence. So now we have our sequence of planets, and we put that in the middle here. We say Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and so on. And we get, one, again, like we get a Mars here and a Mars here. So there's like 2 Mars, one after the other if we arrange this circularly. But that's how it goes. So now we have the minor arcana cards and we have their placement. So we have, for example, 2 of Wands connected with Mars in Aries. 3 of Wands is Sun in Aries. 4 of Wands is Venus in Aries. Then we have 5 of Pentacles, which is Mercury in Taurus. 6 of Pentacles is Moon in Taurus. 7 of Pentacles is Saturn in Taurus, and so on. Okay, this is great. But what about the aces and the pages and the aces and the court cards, for instance? Now we already know what we did with the aces. The aces were like we had 1 ace for each season. So, we connected those here with, again, Pentacles, Wands, Cups, Swords. So Pentacles go for spring or autumn, that way, first season. Second one, we have Wands, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, and Ace of Swords. And what they did is now, again, I didn't do this, don't ask me but that's their logic of it. Aces and pages. Pages were also connected with beginnings, right? In the hierarchy of the court cards. So all the beginnings go together. So aces and pages go together. Ace of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, for one whole season, Ace of Wands and Page of Wands for one whole season, and so on. And then they could have just, associated one quote card for one sort of, triad of, decans. But they didn't want to do that because they said, okay, quote cards will be the connections in a certain way. So what they did was, if you notice, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Let's come back to Queen of Wands. But the Knight of Pentacles here takes the last decan or the last number of this previous sort of sign and the first two numbers of the next sign. And so this way, the Knight of Pentacles connects, Four of Wands, Five of Pentacles, and Six of Pentacles. Then you have the King of Swords connecting Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and Nine of Swords. And so with like that one decan overlap. And so then the Queen of Wands covers Ten of Cups and Two and Three of Wands, right? That's how they have spread it up and connected everything together. Okay. This is interesting, isn't it? This is how they have done it. Whether it makes sense or not is not the point. This is how they have connected it. And I hope to make sense of the astrological connections through these, as I learned. But let's go on with this. Right? This is how they have connected these. And so the final block is that of the dates. Now we know the dates of the zodiac signs. That's pretty much, it's a Google search away. Aries goes from the 21st of March to the 20th of April. Taurus goes 21st March to 20th May. And these are just, sometimes some systems like to do one day here and there, whatever. But this is roughly it. And so each card for that decan is 10 days. So now what they have done, Two of Wands, which is Mars in Aries, goes from the 21st of March to the 30th of March. Three of Wands, which is Sun in Aries, goes from 31st of March to 10th of April, and so on. And so now you get these dates. Okay, now a lot of you will be like, okay, so are these cards or these astrological sort of placements, does it sort of happen every year on the dot that, between 21st of March and 30th of March, do we get Mars in Aries? No. It might happen because, of the way the planets transit. Once in a while it might show up, I suppose. But that's not like, okay, every year on year, between these 10 days, this is going to be the planetary placement. Okay, so this is not that, unfortunately. This is just saying that for these 10 days, these planetary placements are assigned to these tarot cards. Okay, and I guess the associated. So for example, Queen of Wands, we'll see, goes from 11th of March till the 10th of April, right? Knight of Pentacles will go from 11th of April till 10th of May, right? So each card has a difference. So because, they cover 3 decans, so it'll be like a month-long thing for each court card, and whole season long, so it'll be like roughly 3 month long for the Ace and Page, right? So this is the whole thing. So what we see is, for example, let's take the first example. We have Two of Wands, which is Mars in Aries, going from 21st March to 30th March. But then the associated cards also connected up with this Two of Wands is the Queen of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. So this is how it works. And if you may, if you want to Google it, you will often see something similar to this showing up on Google search if you look for the Decan Wheel of the Tarot. So to sum it up, we get 12 zodiac signs sort of distributed equally around a circle of 360 degrees, which is 30 degrees for each zodiac sign. Within that, it's divided up into 3 parts of 10 degrees a decan. And in each decan, we will find a minor arcana card, and a court card for 3 decans, and an ace and a page for 3 zodiac signs. So, for example, if you look in this chart, we have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. And so in Aries, which is this 30-degree sort of chunk, it's divided. And these are the planets that we looked at, right? Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, Saturn, Jupiter, and so on. Repeat. And then we get these 10-degree chunks, and the 2 of Wands, 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands, and the dates, the code cards, the page and date. It's the same sort of thing, but in a better chart here. So this is the minor arcana, and so now let's combine everything. And so now we get, this is the minor arcana chart, and on top we add our major arcana chart that we looked right at the beginning. So we have Aries, ruled by Mars, and these are the 3 decans of Aries, and these are the planets ruling each decan, the dates, the courts, aces and pages, right? The same chart, but for the Thoth tarot. So this is going to be our like guiding chart, so to speak. Along with that, let's look at the different tools and techniques that I plan to use. And of course, we will look at the tarot decks, tarot cards. So I'm going to look at the 3 basic, main tarot decks. We have your Rider-Waite, Thoth, and Marseille, right? I also found this lovely Decans deck. So this is the thing. There is a book called the Picatrix, which was written way many years ago. And what happened was, in that, among other things, that book contained like a description. So there was like an energetic description, you can say, or some sort of a description for each decan. So this deck actually has beautiful images of those 36, because we have 10-degree decans, so we have 36 of those. And I found a deck, so it's amazing. Of course I bought it. And then I also happen to have these 2 astrology based decks, the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, and then Star Codes Astro. So I'm going to use them as well in my study, right? Because why not? I mean, if there's a deck for it, I'll probably buy. And then of course books, right? So these are going to be like the 3 main tarot books. We have Tarot Correspondences by T. Susan Chang, Tarot Deciphered by T. Susan Chang and M. Meline, and 36 Secrets also by T. Susan Chang. Sorry. And so this one is her study of her Decan Walk. Really, it's really beautiful. And she really is way into it, more than me, 100%. So these books are worth buying and reading, if you ask me, totally. And this one is just full of all sorts of charts and stuff, so which is very cool. Then of course we need astrology stuff. So there's this book that I was recommended, The Stars Within You. I have the audiobook actually, but it's brilliant. And of course, there were books that came with the Oracle of the Radiant Sun and Star Codes Astro that have some information, which is great. And then, of course, this book, Cosmos and Psyche, this one was recommended. I have the audiobook for this one too, and this is the Picatrix. It's just here for reference. I don't have it. It's a bit too complex, I think, because there's like a lot in there. It's if you guys are just curious, it's actually like a translation of this Arabic book called Gayat al-Hakim, which means the goal of the wise, and it's got a whole bunch of magic and whatnot in it. It's like, oh god, it's too advanced for me. Nevertheless, these are more like references. This is more like you're all about the planets and the signs and whatnot, and the astrology angles and the tarot stuff, and it's all that intersection of both tarot and astrology here. So these will be the decks and the books that I plan to sort of use. If there are other decks and books that I end up sort of bringing into this group, I will definitely share it with you. but so far, this is where I am. And the plan is that those 10 days, every time that sort of Decan time shows up, I plan to sit with those books and read about the planet and the sign. So here, just for example, this is the Two of Wands, right? Your Mars in Aries. So then I'm going to look at the relevant tarot cards. So you have these from the Rider-Waite, then your Thoth, and your Marseille tarot deck. So I'm going to look at all of these. So you have the Two of Wands, you have the Mars card, which is the Tower, the Aries card, which is your Emperor, right? And then I'm going to also look at the Astrology, then the other decks. So we have this Oracle of the Radiant Sun. This is literally the card for Mars and Aries. Then this is the card for Mars and Aries from your Star Codes Astro deck. And this is Mars and Aries, the first decan of Aries from the Picatrix decan deck. So I'm going to look at all of these, and then of course, just because I'm a little crazy, we get the court cards, your Queen of Wands, then the Page and the Ace. Okay, the Page of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles. Wow, right? So first we're going to learn the astrology parts, then we're going to look at all these different cards and see where and how the energies of the planet, the sign, the decan, etc. show up in these images, right? So every time, every 10-day period, I will be looking at essentially the energy of the planet, the energy of the energy of the sign, the energy of the planet, how it shows up in that particular minor arcana card, and the relevant court cards and aces, and of course the decan energy, and the overall energy. So seeing how it shows up is going to be the goal. And the process, anyhow, the plan, fingers crossed, is every 10 days I'm going to spend time reading that. Then I will be making a sort of a slideshow recording of this, like for the YouTube thing. And while I'm doing that, I'll be also recording the audio. And like my voice note app has a lovely transcribe function nowadays. So I'm going to take that and convert it into a little bit of a blog post. So we have a YouTube video and a blog post to go with it. And this is going to be my year-long journey of discovery and learning, where I'm essentially going to understand astrology, the basics of astrology, through the lens of the tarot. And it's going to be all the year round. And it begins on the 21st of March. So this video is just like the introduction, like to give you a fair idea of what I have taken on and what's going to happen, and what it's going to be like. And yeah, so anyhow, so after I told my mom what I was doing, she's like, "Why are you doing this? What's the point?" So I added this slide in here. I was like, yes, because everybody will probably be curious. Like, yes, sure, you're learning astrology, but isn't this a way convoluted sort of way to learn it? Maybe, but I love to bring my tarot everywhere, in every aspect of my life. I can't help it. And then the fact of the matter is, if you aren't living in a bubble, you know what's happening in the world, you know what's happening even in the United States for that matter, because that's where I'm living right now. And look at the spread. I pulled cards. No, I didn't pull cards. I pulled cards that were relevant to the story here and put them here. So I had a choice. I figured I could either get all depressed about it with that Ten of Swords, or I could do something and study maybe something. Because up until now, my life has always been negative coping mechanisms, and I'm making a genuine, real effort to replace my negative coping mechanisms with positive coping mechanisms. And so every time, instead of getting depressed, I'm going to be like, okay, let's study something, and through that find a way to cope and understand and learn and deal with and face whatever is painful and hard to cope with, right? It's We're all learning, we're all growing, right? and then, becoming like that sun card, just, embracing the adventure. At least that is the hope. So, I would like to extend a little bit of an invitation to you guys to join me on this journey, this Decan Walk, uh, where we understand astrology through the lens of the tarot. I suppose I will be also making some sort of handouts or worksheets. I plan to do that, and I'm going to put them up, in the links of this video. So if you want to join in, if you want to participate, you could use those to to do your work if you want to join along. um, if you want to also make your own observation studies, you want to share them, please feel free to share them in the comments, or you could email me, whatever works for you. If you want to make other videos and share, please do. I will hope maybe make a playlist or something. Let's see how this goes. If nothing, I will, just share it with me. Or put the links in the comments. Others can go watch too. Anyhow, the point is that this is going to be like an evolving process. So again, I can't really predict. I will try to be regular every 10 days and whatnot, but life can happen, so things might go a little up and down. But nevertheless, I do plan to stick to this because, as I told you, this is going to be how I cope. So it's going to be necessary, important, and necessary for me to do that. And I plan to be honestly true to this goal of mine. And that's about it. So join me, and let's all learn together. So I guess I will see you on this journey, and I'll put all the links in the video description. So, and if you have any suggestions, any ideas, any thoughts, anything at all that you would like for me to also look into, please drop me a line in the comments or email me, whatever works. Okay? Right on. So I will see you guys soon with the first decan, Mars in Aries, Two of Wands. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So, you and press the bell icon so you are notified every time there's a new video and so forth. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.